What if the one thing standing between humanity and a literal god is a team that's about to tear itself apart? That's not a hypothetical. That's the nightmare the boys just handed us. And tonight, it becomes real. Episode 4 of the final season drops tonight. It's called Though the Heavens Fall. And that title? That title alone should send a chill straight down your spine. Because in this show, when the heavens fall, people die. People we love. People we weren't ready to lose. My name is... And if you are not buckled in right now, buckle in. Because we are about to go deep on everything that has led to this moment. Every thread the writers have been pulling since the premiere. Every hidden clue. And the one prediction I have that I genuinely believe is going to shatter this fandom tonight. Stay until the end. Trust me. And if this is your first time here, welcome to the most dangerous channel on YouTube. Hit subscribe. We go deep on the boys every single week. Drop a comment right now. Are you Team Butcher or Team Hughie? Because after episode 4, you might have to pick a side. Let's get into it. Before we talk about episode 4, we need to understand the battlefield. This is season 5, the final season. Eric Kripke and his team are playing for keeps. There is no next season to fix mistakes. Every character death is permanent. Every betrayal is a goodbye. Every choice carries the full weight of 5 seasons of story. And the season is open like a freight train hitting a wall at full speed. The 2-episode premiere on April 8th didn't ease us in. It dropped us in. We came in already bleeding. The world of the boys has never been darker. Homelander doesn't just control the 7 anymore. He controls the narrative of an entire nation. Vought's propaganda machine has rewritten reality for millions of Americans. The Supes aren't just superheroes anymore. They're gods. And Homelander has made it very, very clear. He wants to be the only god left standing. But here's the piece that changes everything. And it arrived in episode 3. Soldier Boy's medical report reveals he has compound V1 in his bloodstream. That's why he didn't die from the Supe-killing virus. V1, the original compound V, is the reason Soldier Boy is essentially immortal. And now both sides of this war know it. Think about that for a second. The Supe-killing virus was supposed to be the endgame, the nuclear option, the one weapon that could level the playing field and end Homelander's reign. And what we've just learned is that the most powerful Supe in the world can make himself immune to it. Homelander isn't running from the threat. He's found a way to transcend it. His entire organization is now mobilized. Every operative, every loyal Supe, every media arm of Vought, all of them hunting for whatever remaining supplies of V1 are left in the world. Showrunner Eric Kripke said it plainly. He wants V1 so he can become a god. Not a superhero, not a weapon, a god. And here's the detail that keeps me up at night. Homelander isn't doing this from a place of strength. He's doing it from a place of fracture. He's having visions. He's seeing the ghost of Madeline Stillwell, the woman who shaped him, manipulated him, became his psychological anchor, delivering what he believes is a holy mission. This man is losing his grip on reality while simultaneously reaching for godhood. That combination has never ended well in human history, and it won't end well here. But let's talk about the other side of the board, because the Resistance isn't exactly in great shape either. Billy Butcher approached Ryan, Homelander's son, a boy with powers that rival his father's, and asked him to do the unthinkable. Kill Homelander. Using the virus. Let that sink in. Butcher asked a child to assassinate his own father. And then Samir destroyed the lab. The virus is gone. The plan is gone. And Ryan, fueled by rage and desperation, went after Homelander alone. He failed. Of course he failed. And now that failed attempt has consequences we can't fully measure yet. Does Homelander know Ryan came for him? Does he see it as rebellion? Or worse, does he absorb it, forgive it, and use it to pull Ryan back in? Because that's the really insidious thing about Homelander. He doesn't just break his enemies, he adopts them. Meanwhile, Mother's Milk, Frenchie, and Hughie are detained in a Vought freedom camp. That phrase, a freedom camp. Language weaponized into its own opposite. Classic Vought. They are trapped. The lab is destroyed. Ryan's solo run failed. The virus is gone. And Butcher? Butcher is about to do what Butcher always does when his back is against the wall. He is about to make things so much worse. Now, episode 4, Though the Heavens Fall. The title comes from a Latin legal phrase, fiat justitia ruat caelum, let justice be done, though the heavens fall. It speaks to an absolute uncompromising commitment to justice, even if the world burns in the process. And that is exactly the philosophy at the heart of this episode's central conflict. Because the trailer has revealed what many of us feared and some of us predicted. Billy Butcher physically attacks Hughie Campbell. This isn't an argument. This isn't a disagreement at a safe house over a cup of tea. This is violence. Butcher, who has always been capable of this, always had this darkness, turns it on the person who has been the moral compass of this team for 5 seasons. Showrunner Kripke described episode 4 as the end of Act 1 in a movie. He's telling us everything before this was set up, and now the story truly begins. So what breaks them apart? What is the fault line that finally cracks this partnership? Here's my theory. It's Ryan. Butcher wants to use Ryan, to sacrifice him, to deploy him, to burn him up in service of killing Homelander. And Hughie, who has watched Butcher use and discard people for years, finally says, no, not this time, not a kid. Butcher, who spent years pretending he was doing all of this for some noble reason, cannot afford that conscience right now. And so he does what Butcher does. He removes the obstacle. This is not a heel turn. This is a revelation. Butcher was never fully the hero. He was always the instrument of his own kind of destruction. The boys was always asking, what is the difference between the monster you're fighting and the monster you become to fight it? Episode 4 might finally give us the answer. Now, Fort Harmony. Fort Harmony is an abandoned military facility, the site where V1 was originally tested. And right now, it is the most important piece of real estate in this entire universe. Because whoever reaches Fort Harmony first controls V1, and whoever controls V1 controls the future of humanity. Homelander's forces are mobilized. The boys, fractured, detained, at war with each other, are running out of time. The dialogue in the trailer confirms it. Weeks, at least, before the window closes. But here's what I want you to think about. Every mission the boys has ever undertaken has cost them something. Every victory came soaked in loss. Fort Harmony will be no different. Who goes to Fort Harmony? Who doesn't make it back? And more importantly, what do they find there? Because my gut tells me Fort Harmony isn't just a storage facility. There are secrets inside those walls. Things Vought didn't want anyone to find. History that was buried for a reason. And when the boys crack that open, the story changes again. All right, prediction time. Let me know in the comments which one you think lands. Prediction 1. Hughie walks away. Not permanently, but after Butcher's attack, Hughie physically leaves the team. This is the moment the audience has been waiting for since season 1. Hughie finally stops following Butcher's lead. And that departure is what forces Butcher to reckon with what he's become. Prediction 2. Ryan makes contact with Homelander, voluntarily. The failed solo attack didn't kill his father. It may have convinced him that he can't do this alone. And Homelander, calculated even in his madness, will use that vulnerability to pull Ryan back into his orbit. The father-son relationship is the emotional black hole at the center of this season, and episode 4 is going to drag us closer to it. Prediction 3. Someone at Fort Harmony doesn't make it out. The title, Though the Heavens Fall, suggests sacrifice. Total, uncompromising sacrifice. I'm not saying who, but someone enters Fort Harmony and doesn't leave it the same way they went in. Or doesn't leave it at all. Prediction 4, and this what I feel in my bones. We get our first real scene between Homelander and Soldier Boy. Not a flashback, not a vision. Face to face. Father and son, in whatever twisted sense those words apply here. Kripke has said the entire reason Soldier Boy was brought back this season is to explore what was never explored, the father-son dynamic between these two. Episode 4, at the midpoint of the season, is exactly when that confrontation should happen. And when it does, the entire power structure of this show will shift. I want to take a breath here, because in all the chaos and carnage and spectacular comic book violence, it's easy to lose sight of what The Boys is actually saying. This show has always been a mirror, not a comfortable one, the kind of mirror that shows you the thing you didn't want to see. And Season 5 is holding that mirror up to something very specific. What happens to a movement when it becomes indistinguishable from the thing it's fighting? Butcher started as a man with a righteous grievance, and piece by piece, choice by choice, he has become something that looks a lot like the monsters he hunts. He weaponizes people. He sacrifices innocents. He lies to the people who trust him. The only difference between Butcher and Homelander some days is the story each man tells about why. Episode 4 might be the moment that question stops being rhetorical. We are at the halfway point of the final season. The Boys has 8 episodes to close 5 seasons of story, and Kripke has already described this as the end of Act 1. That means the real story, the devastating, irreversible story, starts tonight. A-Train is already dead, the team is already fractured, the virus is already gone, and Homelander is already reaching for godhood. Though the heavens fall, they're going to fall. The question is, who's still standing when they do? That is everything I've got ahead of episode 4. But now I want to hear from you. Drop your predictions in the comments right now. Who do you think gets to Fort Harmony first? Does Butcher and Hughie's relationship survive this season? And most importantly, is Homelander actually going to become immortal? If this breakdown added something to your watch tonight, smash the like button. It genuinely helps more people find this channel, and we are building something here. A community of people who actually think about what they're watching. Subscribe if you're new, because I will be back with a full episode 4 breakdown and reaction the moment it drops. We are going to pause frame by frame on every hidden detail, every background Easter egg, and every piece of foreshadowing Kripke buried in there that we won't fully understand until the finale. This is it, the final season, the final act. Though the heavens fall. Make sure you watch it with the lights off.